Hi, welcome to Ravenheart International Fantastic Film Festival 2024. I'm Kai Olssen, I'm the curator here, and today I'm joined by Director Delia Luna Couturier of Snakes and Stairs. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, you have made a quite touching fantasy film. Tell us a bit more about the story behind Snakes and Stairs.
Well, it has a lot of points. It starts with the idea of last memory I have of when I was a child, the last day I saw my grandmother before she died, and how I didn't understand what was happening and what happened the days after the death. The absence, I think, it's the first time I realized what death was going to be for the rest of us. So it starts a little bit like that, and how you grown up once you realize you cannot defeat that.
Yeah, because the story is very influenced by fantasy. You have
Yes.
references to role-playing games. You have inspirations for fairy tales and fantasies. There, tell a bit more about that.
I grew up with those stories. I love the fantasy world all the time, and I want to recreate a game that we have in Mexico. It's called Snakes and Stairs, and it's a game that you are make a travel and you go up to the prize to the last chart. But it's like life, and it's like a duel. You think you are going to the stage, and something happened, and you go down to the beginning. So I wanted to recreate that. I want to make something of fantasy for my short film and see how all that makes in the mind of a child, I guess.
Because you're from Mexico, and there is this tradition in Mexico, especially in modern cinema, with using a lot of myths.
Yes.
Can you maybe tell us a bit more about that?
Well, in Mexico, there is a lot of myths. People coming back, shadow, something like scary, but we are not really scary about that. We are curious about it more than scary. And I think that becomes a little bit more like a mix between fantasy and all those stories. Uh, I love those stories, and I want to try to see one of my own a little bit. It's a mix, yes.
Has there been any inspirations from Mexican cinema in particular that we should know about here?
Of course, there's always the cinema of Guillermo del Toro. I think he's one of the greatest reference in Mexican cinema. Uh, but I think I took a little bit of other films and stories more than a little bit of everything on my memory. I think for
The
sure.
visual side and the production. How did you go forth when you made the film?
I write the story, and while I was writing, I was already talking to my photographer, that it's my colleague, my friend. How are we going to make this, and how should I write it to be something that we will be able to do it? And I think that resumes like it's in the mind of a child, and it's a mix of his memories and his life mixed with fantasy, so we can do whatever we want. And yes, of course, we go back to Terrence Malick, we go back to Michel Gondry, that it makes like elements that could be part of the game of in the life of the child, mixed with his mind and his wishes, and he gets into the story at the end. That's why there's three worlds. I call the first world one that it's made by the grandfather when he tells a story, the real one when it's boring, it's sad, and that's when the grandfather is gone.
Yeah, the boring side and mundane. Yeah.
Yes, the mundane, and the mix of all the worlds with the grief. Yes.
So how did you approach casting? Where did you find the grandfather and the kid who plays the grandson?
Well, the kid, it's actually my cousin. He came from a family of actors, and when we saw it, we say it's him, it's Bruno. And the grandfather was he passed away a few years ago, just after we shoot. But he was actor in Mexico. He's very known for theater. He made some movies, and when I write to him and I told him about my school project for thesis, he just say, okay, don't tell me more. I read the script. Let's do it. It was great.
So how was the production in itself? The more practicality way of producing this?
It was a student short film. It was my thesis to go out from film school. So the school gave me a lot of things. Lighting, the camera, the studio where we shoot a lot of things. And I work with all of my colleagues from school, the alumni from years below, and my classmates. We were make all the film together. It was shoot in 8 days. We had a house, we have studio, we have a forest. We built the labyrinth, and we changed. It was a mobile labyrinth, so we will change. The photographer made the lights with LED lights and everything. So it was a mix between VFX and practical effects also to make the magic. So I made it with my friends, and that was very good.
There's some upcoming female directors because there is not that big of tradition of female directors in Mexico.
Yes, and it's starting to growing up. I think we are more and more, and we are also more females that made fantasy and horror and genre kind of films, and I think that's amazing. It's starting. We are starting to be more.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how has the film been received?
I think it's been well received. I had my questions about it was a little bit too dark for kids, actually, but I think it's not. I think it's been also in the fantastic horror and child's festivals, so I think it's been well accepted. It has a little bit of a sad ending, but that's life.
Yeah. If anybody sees this and want to know more about the film, where can they find out? Where can I go?
I have a Vimeo page where they can find me, and I also have a Facebook page also. It was made.
And what's the future plans? Do you have any upcoming projects in the pipeline?
I'm writing this time a horror short film. The first time I write like intentionally, completely. And I'm finishing a documentary I made a couple of years ago. I'm starting to finish that too.
Yes. Thank you much for coming to Ravenheart, and we wish you the best of luck with Sings and Stairs and your future projects.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.